Live from the Washington, D.C. area, it's the Inside Scoop, Emerald Planet. All the ecology news that our viewers want to know. Now, here's your host, Executive Director of the Emerald Planet, Dr. Sam Lee Hancock.
Hello and welcome to the Emerald Planet as we come to you from Washington, D.C. and the United States, looking around the globe in 144 different nations, looking for the 1,000 best practices, the technologies, the services, and the products that are making a difference as we move through the 21st century. And in the process of looking around the globe in those nations, we're also looking within the United States, looking for a number of best practices. And we have some communities in California that are taking leadership as far as environmental quality, helping to establish and set national policy, also integrating local issues and policies within the broad national debate, and also to optimize the natural resources that California has in abundance. And so we have an outstanding leader. It's going to be joining us. This is Lori Acton, who is the council member for the city of Ridgecrest, California. She comes from that area, a very beautiful area. And Lori is coming in to us by Skype. So we have Joe Martori is going to be in reserve in case we need him. But Lori, welcome to the Emerald Planet.
Thank you very much.
Glad to have you here. You are from a very beautiful city out there in the high desert, and you can certainly be proud of that whole area of California.
I very much am. I was born and raised out here, so I've been here a long time, and I really, really enjoy it out here.
I want to bring up this first slide, which gives an idea of the area where you're located in California. But anyway, tell us a little bit about Ridgecrest and where you are located in California.
We are the center of everything. We are dead center between the highest points and the lowest point in the continental United States, which would be between Death Valley and Mount Whitney. We're at the southern portion and the northeast corner of Kern County. Sierra Nevada mountain range is where people know us from because we are on the Mojave Desert.
Well, you're actually surrounded by 4 mountain ranges, so you're in really a high plateau, correct?
Yes, we are. It's very interesting because we really are in the middle of everything. To get anywhere you want to go, you can start here and branch out.
Well, also, you're not far. I want to bring up the logo for the city if I can, because it's a very interesting logo and it really depicts a lot of what's going on there. But looking at the transportation, I know that you have major roadways going through there, the airports, so you really have strategic infrastructure as well as a strategic location.
We do, and that was by design. We were actually built as a support city for the Naval Weapons Station. The Naval Weapons Station came out here in World War II, worked on the atom bomb out here, the Sidewinder missile was done here, and most importantly, glow sticks were invented here. So we hold about 92 active patents, and we've held over 300 patents all total. So we grew into where we are now, which again was strategically planned, and it has worked to our advantage in many, many areas.
Well, looking at the city logo, it's not something that I was really thinking about it, but it's so comprehensive and really shares the essence of Ridgecrest in that area. Tell us a little bit about the logo.
Well, the key obviously is very large because we find the balance between the military and their mission and a quality of life for the people who support their mission. So it makes it very interesting to live here. When you are introduced to somebody in our area, when they tell you that they're a rocket scientist, they really are. So it makes for an interesting dynamic within our community, and it's about finding that balance.
Well, and then also you have the scales, and of course we can understand the military and the missile aspects of it, but tell us a little bit about the scales, because I think that's going to lead us into some of the other conversations we're going to have with you and other guests on the Emerald Planet television program.
The other natural resources that are found all around us within about 45 miles, some a lot less than that, but most people live here, is mining. We have trona, which has Searles Valley minerals, which the element trona comes from. We have Briggs Mining Field, that's a gold mine. We have Sleepy Bear Mining. We have, I forgot the name. A boron, Rio Tinto, goodness. Borax is only mined 2 places in the world. You think I would get that one. So we are really surrounded by mining, and that is why people came out here originally was for the gold mines, and they settled in towns about 15 minutes outside of Ridgecrest called Johannesburg, Randsburg, and Red Mountain.
Well, I tell you, it's just fabulous, and we have, and I think you can see this, Lori, but we have the City Hall in front of us, so we can bring that slide up, and I'm going to ask our technical crew if they can just kind of stay with us with the slides. But this is quite impressive, the size of your city, and to have this type of very lovely complex. It shows that you take great pride in your locality and that it looks like the economy is thriving there.
Well, I'd love to tell you the economy is thriving, but I think we're all having those same issues in our cities. But what I am most proud of with our City Hall is that we are completely solar. We put in panels, which you probably don't see here, but we actually converted a field that wasn't used to all solar to power our main building of City Hall, as well as our youth sports complex next door. And eventually we'll be continuing on with our street lights and other things, all moving into solar power as much as we possibly can, because we have so much sunshine here.
Well, I think it's really wise what you're doing, and you're really going towards what the Europeans and now we have in the United States called the zero carbon, and that's a very wise use of a very abundant natural resource that you have. And also I was impressed with the college. It's a comprehensive program of academics, but also it helps to support the mining and many of the other businesses and natural resource activities you have in that area.
It does, and we have specific programs geared toward what's in our area. So we have them to help the mining community, the engineering community, as well as the medical community, because our hospital is state-of-the-art. So we support all of those platforms by being very specific with our college classes, as well as being able to be linked in and doing a lot of your classes online or through the tele venues.
Well, this is a scene of the high desert, and it's absolutely breathtaking. When I first drove out there, it was late at night, woke up early in the morning, and this was actually a scene that it was almost outside of my window. So tell us a little bit about the area, what people see, and how are you using the desert besides the mining and also the military?
Oh, gosh, I love the desert. It is vast because everywhere you look, there's space, and that makes it so nice. You never feel closed in or boxed in. We have a very unique relationship out here. Ridgecrest City itself is kind of landlocked between the county and the BLM. So we work hand in hand with the Department of Interior, the Bureau of Land Management, to manage our lands. We have a lot of open space where we have free reign with OHV, but that is limited. So you have to be in those specific areas, but they're large enough that we hold races. We just held a desert race, 250 miles. Because we have set aside those lands, we don't have to worry so much about damaging of the wildlife. You still have to stay in certain areas. You can't just wander willy-nilly. But we do have a lot set up. People enjoy so much here with hiking and equestrian use, off-road vehicle. There's just a ton to do out here, and to be able to enjoy wildflowers, rocks, a lot of minerals, and rock hounds in the area enjoy it as well.
Well, going back, I'm going to go between these two, and you can see these changing because the natural beauty that you have. But explain in depth a little bit about the renewable energy sources you have. It's obvious of the sun, but also you have a growing wind power development out there as well.
We do. We have a lot of wind power. Kern County itself, the Board of Supervisors had decided to reach a goal of 10,000 megawatts of renewable energy, and we wanted it in production by 2015. That goal is within reach. We have 2 to 3 projects, permitted projects, in operation or under construction. We ended 2012 with 7,568 megawatts of permitted wind and solar. We do a lot of it depending on the area. Because of the mission of the base, we do a lot of photovoltaic. For instance, our military installation has the largest photovoltaic solar plant of any military installation in the U.S.
That is absolutely incredible. And I know that Martori Museum, we had a program we did from your area almost a year ago exactly, and we had one of the curators there. This is a very high quality museum, and it really shares much about your locality, but you have some very unique cave paintings, I understand?
The petroglyphs, we do, and those are wonderful. Those are protected. They are on the military installation, but you can view them. We take tours out there all the time. It's just amazing, and so we promote that a lot. And just for your information, our museum has expanded, so the new building is almost done, and we're moving on with even more stuff to share. So we've got, and they host a wildflower festival every year, so we have a lot going on with that.
Well, I'm going to leave, we have 2 slides of the wind power out there. Where do you see the future for the county as far as this balance between environment and economic development, Lori? And we have about 1 minute to discuss all that.
No pressure. We're working very hard to find that balance, but we lead California in how much alternative energy we have out there. And it is our second largest economic driver within our county, because we streamlined the process, number one, and we put some regulations in place to help us drive our economy so that we are sustainable as we put in that kind of energy.
So you really see then there's a very real balance between the environment and economy, and you're a good best practice for that.
We are. We're one of the, there's only 2 places in California that even has sustainability in their general plan in regards to military bases as well. And
Lori, we're going to lose you. We're going to music, but Lori Acton, who is the council member, City of Ridgecrest, California, talking about the balance between the environment and economic development. And it's a city on the move, and it's a city that's proving the best practices of these 2 as we create the Emerald Planet.
This year, 28,000 Americans will be diagnosed with oral cancer. Every year, 7,000 Americans die of oral cancer.
I'm Eva Cohen, and I'm an oral cancer survivor. I didn't fit the profile. I didn't smoke or drink. I had no family history of cancer, no family history of cancer. I was 31 years old, 31 years old. I went to see my dentist about a sore in my mouth that wouldn't heal. It was oral cancer. I had to have a radical neck dissection and a portion of my tongue reconstructed. I didn't know if I was going to live or die.
I'm Surgeon General Richard Carmona. The survival rate for oral cancer is only 50%. Oral cancer can happen to anyone. If you have a sore or lesion in your mouth that doesn't heal within 2 weeks, see your dentist. Early detection is the key.
Early detection saves lives. I know.
1 in 8 Americans goes hungry. One idea helped change that. A community started a garden that blossomed into farmers markets. 1 in 6 children lives in poverty. One group of women found an answer by opening a daycare center that their neighbors could afford. Today, 36 million Americans live in poverty, but one by one, people are helping themselves and each other to change the picture of poverty to one of hope. For easy ways you can help, visit povertyusa.org.
2 words for you. Pop quiz. Ready? Name any funny movie. A drama.
Name a mystery. And one more thing. Name the movie your kids saw today in science class.
Know what really matters. Know about your kid's school. And know about your kid. Find out 100 ways to know more, do more.
We're back to the Inside Scoop Emerald Planet. Here again, your host, Dr. Sam.
Hello and welcome to the Emerald Planet as we come to you from Washington, D.C. and the United States as we're looking for the 1,000 best practices, the technologies, the services, and the products that are making a difference as we move through the 21st century. And of course, we're focusing on the individuals and the communities that are helping to pave the way to test the best practices and to show how that we're going to be able to accommodate 9 billion new souls on the planet by 2050. So as we go from 7 billion to 9, how we're going to be able to accommodate in a way that's going to enhance the quality of life and not just provide a subsistence living. We have a gentleman who's been involved for a number of years now. He's both an environmental engineer and also he's the chairman of the San Bernardino Planning Commission out in San Bernardino County in California. His name is Randy Coleman. And Randy, welcome to the Emerald Planet. It looks like we're going to bring your audio up here just in a minute, Randy. And I'm going to go to the first slide while they bring up the audio. If we can bring up the first slide, please. And let's show where Randy's actually coming in from. Randy, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm still with you.
There you are. Okay, we got sound. Welcome to the Emerald Planet.
Welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. And your buddy Joe Martori told me about your hat that you'd be wearing it. It's fantastic. I love it.
Thank you very much.
Well, we have you probably be able to see where we are as far as the slide. We have the California map there and pointing out your area. But you really have been a leader in environmental engineering and also environmental quality your professional career. So how did that prepare you to be chairman actually of the planning commission there in your county?
Well, I think it's kind of a multi-step process. Originally, we've been involved with the family business since 1973, where we have been involved with all types of projects in mining, residential projects, churches, etc. Along with that, I guess I individually and my family's been involved with local politics. My wife was on the local city council, and personally myself, I keep expanding my knowledge base to take care of all these additional environmental issues as they come up. And with that, then I end up getting some more confidence with the other planning commissioners of my knowledge and dealing with our professional staff at the county, and therefore they appointed me to be chairman in the beginning of this year.
Well, I tell you, that's a very impressive position. Congratulations. And I went out and actually looked at some of the minutes of the Planning Commission and all that. You have a very active group.
Yeah, there are individuals there's another engineer. There's been other people that are involved with the environment. There's one of the ladies, she's a retired professor for business administration, and she's on the work investment board. And one of the other ladies has been involved with part of the, let's say, the Republican county politics over the last 20 plus years.
Well, you have a good balance out there of the number of people and professional experience. Tell us a little bit about what is special about San Bernardino County, and how are you striving to balance both the environment and economic development in such a huge locality as San Bernardino?
Well, San Bernardino County is the largest county in the continental United States. So with that, that brings many challenges of getting everybody together to come up with answers to the issues and challenges that we have. On the other hand, that vast resource of the desert community, its elevation, et cetera, we have a huge opportunity to provide alternative resources for photovoltaic projects, wind projects, thermal processes. And with that, we're kind of the forefront of the United States of doing these projects, let alone we're adjacent to the Southern California population base of approximately 20 million people. We're getting growth no matter what, and we are a good location to provide these alternative resources for this vast population that's ever growing.
Well, you talked about the relative size of your county being the largest in the continental United States, and it is huge. And your government is really considered to be a leader in the United States to balance, again, the economy and environment. But how do you balance the county policies with other localities, with the state and the federal government when you have this push-pull situation both for the economy and the environment?
Well, I guess I'll quickly jump into the environment. I mean, San Bernardino County has a general plan process, which they updated recently. We also have a biological resources map that's been created. And with that, as new projects come in to the system, the staff can review the types of endangered species or plants or animals or desert tortoises that need to have supplemental technical reports. I can see some of the photos I've taken out in the desert of rare and plants that don't necessarily bloom very often, and a seed bank that is in the desert that may not bloom for 70 years. So you may see plants that you've never seen in your lifetime that I have pictures of there. But because of this diversity of what we have, we are always updating our planning documents, the biological maps, there's habitat conservation plans, there's a whole host of diverse and complementary and sometimes conflicting reports and information that we have to accomplish. And you're right, it is difficult sometimes to come up to a consensus that everybody can deal with.
Well, I think that's why they've elected you chairman, looking at your background, the number of years, and also the number of the titles that you have behind your name is absolutely incredible. You would do a British general, really great honor by sharing some of those titles that you have. But looking at the new green jobs, I know this is something that you are specifically interested in, and also as being very involved with the county of expanding the local tax base. But yet you're really involved in both energy conservation, the production of new renewables. And so how does the county work to really support the green jobs, expanded tax base, while generating new sources of energy, at the same time encouraging businesses and hospitals, schools, etc., to conserve energy?
Well, you're right. It's a difficult balance. On one hand, you have to make sure that you have all your environmental documentation lined up. And with that, at least in the state of California, we have to have our general plan updates completed. There's the biologic review process. So all of those things have to be the most current. And with that allows a minimal time delay for new projects to get through the system. Additionally, and hopefully that minimizes the lawsuits by various environmental organizations. And some of those environmental organizations I belong to. And sometimes they're even suing each other. So those are the conflicts that are inherent in this whole process. And I guess, you have to realize that the jobs, there's green jobs, there's tourism jobs, there's jobs that are the base industry type jobs that make products and manufacture things. All of these have to work in conjunction to make our area truly a better way of life.
Well, there's a tremendous number of natural resources that you have there, and you have one, as I understand, very special, specific facility that's located within your county. And how do you leverage that, say, over the next 5, 10 to 15 years in order to create those jobs? Because as you said, you're going to get population growth and pressures no matter what you do, just by the virtue of your location.
Yeah, the rare earth minerals that are mined at the Molycorp facility in Mountain Pass, that's between Los Angeles and Las Vegas, that some people drive Interstate 15, go right by there, that has a lot of rare earth elements that are needed for these alternative energy resources. They're needed to make the higher efficiency engines. They're needed for a whole host of things that make things, better, quicker, faster, as I refer to. And without those, we do end up pollute more, takes more time, etc. So these rare earths are very important. And the desert area has a vast amount of rare and unique resources that we need to take advantage of. And along with that is the alternative energy, as I mentioned before, with the photovoltaic, solar, wind. Those are all other programs that we can do to produce local jobs, green jobs, and that many of them can be self-sustaining.
Well, looking at your locality, there's many in the western United States with climate change are getting hotter and drier. There's less water and competition for water. And so as the population expands, how does your Planning Commission looking at how you're going to balance this change of the climate and also to provide the basic water and infrastructure needed for your population?
Well, San Bernardino County within itself has had a water conference the last several years. I know I made a conference to the new CEO a few years ago, Greg Devereaux, that we're spending millions of dollars on planning, but not everybody is paying attention to the long-range water resources that we have. Some areas, like in our desert, we have, 20, 30 million acre feet of underground storage in the underground aquifers. There's also the nearby mountains that get a significant amount of rain that create a lot of stormwater runoff that also recharge the aquifer. So for our local area, San Bernardino County, we're in the best water position compared to the other counties of Southern California. Most of them are importing water from Northern California, from the Colorado River, et cetera. We just need, in my personal opinion, manage our water resources in a better way. And along with that, we'll be able to sustain growth for another 50 years, at least another 30, with hardly doing anything other than some minimal conservation planning.
Well, I know I'm going to be losing you in about 2 or 3 seconds, Randy, so thank you for being with us, and it's just amazing what it is that you're doing there with the county and your leadership with the Planning Commission. And so you can be very proud of the work that you're doing and also the best practices that the county is actually generating, and through the Emerald Planet and other ways you're sharing these best practices around the globe. So thank you for being with us again, Randy Coleman, environmental engineer. And thank you as we create the Emerald Planet.
This is firstgov.gov, where we're obsessed with getting you government information.
Brand new student loan applications on the site, baby. This calls for a celebration. Where's your uncle?
So in the end, it was either take the astronaut gig or come work here. What can I say? Duty called.
Dude, that's my cop.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure that's Sam's cop.
Oh, sorry?
Yeah. No. Sam's. No.
Just log on or email us and get what you need.
C, change of address form. That's how it's done. D, driver's license renewal.
E, emailing Social Security information.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Nice, we'll allow it. All right,
What are those? Government surplus cars for auction.
You posted those online last time.
No, you did.
I'm posting them online this time!
For all your government information, firstgov.gov.
Oh, what have we got here? Sometimes you feel tired. You can't seem to lose those extra pounds off your midsection. And your joints hurt when you take the stairs? Well, you're getting older. But I'm happy to say that there's some simple things we can do to keep you happy and healthy for years to come. We can also lower your risk for some serious diseases the older population is often subject to. Proper nutrition is more important than ever. Your body has changed, you know. Not as many treats. A basic exercise plan, lots of walks and fresh air, and most importantly, come and see me for twice yearly checkups to help ensure the best possible quality of life. Now, how does that sound? Good boy.
Improve the quality of life for your elderly pet. Schedule twice yearly checkups that include preventive care and regular lab work. A message from the veterinary members of the American Animal Hospital Association.
We're back to the Inside Scoop Emerald Planet. Here again, your host, Dr. Sam.
Hello, welcome to the Emerald Planet as we come to you from Washington, D.C. in the United States as we look around the globe in 144 different nations in all 50 states within the United States. And we're looking for those 1,000 best practices, the technologies, the products, and the processes that are making a difference as we move through the 21st century. And we're looking at how the planet is going to be adding 9 billion people to be able to accommodate it by that 2050. And so when we add 2 billion more people, it really has sends a chill down the spine of county, city, national planners, and also those that are thinking about the future and how we're going to balance both climate change, environmental quality, and economic well-being. We have a gentleman who is coming to us that's very much involved with the creative side of looking at the future, both this balance for the economy and environmental development. This is Douglas Lueck, who is the Executive Director, Film Commissioner of the Ridgecrest Regional Film Commission, part of the state of California. Doug, welcome to the Emerald Planet.
Thank you, Sam. Good evening to you.
I'm glad to have you here, and you are in an absolute beautiful area of both California and United States, and so you can be very proud of that locality.
Yes, we are.
Tell us a little bit about the Ridgecrest Regional Film Commission and how that works at a state level, and then we're going to talk specifically about the various assets that you have and what you're doing to highlight the native species, the very unique flora and fauna that you have in both Ridgecrest and Kern County.
Well, Ridgecrest Film Commission started in 1990. We're a small office right here in Ridgecrest. We have contracts with BLM and the city as well as with Kern County, and we have a small staff. We do many pictures, commercials, stills, and we work through this every single day. We probably have 2 or 3 commercials a week.
That is absolutely incredible, and we have this stunning photograph in front of us that was provided by your office. Tell us a little bit about your locality, the mountains, the high desert, the uniqueness of the surroundings that you live in on a day-to-day basis.
Well, the uniqueness is what the directors and producers like from the large production companies. We have everything from sand dunes to petroglyphs to the old west towns. We have desert roads. We have roads that are just blacktop. We have some small amount of water, so we could give them all kinds of backdrops that they may need. And when they call us, we pick through these, we look at them very closely, and then we make a lot of suggestions to them.
Well, I know that the uniqueness of your area out there, this is just an absolutely fantastic photograph, and also it gives an idea of really the expanse that you have out there. And there's a number of people that come to the East Coast, Washington, D.C., and with all the trees and the hills that we have, they almost feel like they're claustrophobic, and they can't wait to get back to a place like Ridgecrest.
Yes, that's very correct. We love our area. We have so much unique property. It's just like Hollywood loves it because there's so much backdrop. They could just move the camera left or right and you get a completely different look. And that's what we look for. When they call us, I ask 100 questions when a producer, director, or a location scout asks for a particular area. I'm not only looking for what he's asking for, I try to look at something else, and I give him several different areas to look at, and he may change his mind 2 or 3 times before we actually find the spot because there's so much to see and do.
Well, I know in chatting with Lori Acton, who is the council member and very supportive of your work,
yes.
She really has shared much with us about how through, of course, the city council and the city administration, but also through your film commission, that you really are working very hard to keep this balance of the natural habitat that you have, the native species, because really it's an economic development issue that you really protect the environment there.
Yes, it is. And we have to look at that very closely. So for every production company that calls us, I have to look at that. An example, if somebody wants to bring a large amount of horses in here, we have to feed them extra or different type of feed. And it has to be done 7 days in advance because they may bring some foreign alfalfa in and we'd have seeds that would be planted and would be something to be growing and we would not want that. So we have to look at every aspect of animals that they bring in, or if they want to bring in plants, we have to look at that. And then we make the decision how they can do this. But also, when we're doing that, we don't want to scare them off. We want them to film here. We want to be friendly. The city of Ridgecrest, Kern County, and the state itself is very friendly to filming, and we want to work together, and they work very well with my office to make this happen, and for the community.
Well, when I was out there, I spent 3 days in your community, and I can honestly say there was nothing but fantastic Western hospitality everywhere I went. And I met actually a great number of people from not only within Ridgecrest and Kern County, but from the area. And there's a general attitude that people there really love nature. They really do want to protect the environment. But at the same time, they want to be able to have the opportunity to invest, create the intellectual property that's needed to advance not only your locality, California, but also the country and the world. And so there seems to be something very innate about the people from that area where they do want to have this balance. How do you think through your film commission that you're able to share that with the greater community, meaning the rest of the country, and at the same time to allow people to say we really need to protect what we have?
Well, from my standpoint as a film commission, when we find that there's a group coming in, it could be a construction site, it could be solar, we look at that, and on the film side, I have to make sure that they don't disturb the views of an area that possibly is a real popular for filming. So I have to look at that, and I pass my recommendation down to either the state or the county or the BLM that either I'm for or against it. And in many cases, they have come to me and have asked these questions. So we have to look at that, because if we had a project, let's say for example, near the Pinnacles, it could jeopardize literally millions of dollars that go into the community, because we are filming actually weekly at that site. So I have to look at everyone that wants to come into this area, and if they want to do construction or any type of large projects, we look at this very closely.
Well, as shared by Lori, you have one of the highest concentration of renewable energy production anywhere in the United States. And it seems like that your office and all the various offices in the county are working closely together to be sure to protect these natural assets that you have. And what do people actually ask you about your area? I know they're eager to come in, they want to film within your area. And so how do you incorporate the local citizens so that there are jobs created around this filming? And at the same time, the people coming in really have an appreciation for the assets that you do have?
Well, it's a real balance. I have to, like I say, I have to look at each project that comes in and make a balance and look at it for as well as the community, as well as the company that's coming in. It could be filming, it could be the solar coming in. So I have to look at every issue very closely, and we do that.
Now, looking at the issue of mining and the use of the natural resources, the gold and rare minerals, the other assets that you have, how does the county balance that? So, because that's actually one of the most traditional industries that you have within the Ridgecrest and Kern Valley and the Kern County area. So how do you allow people to move forward to provide and extract the gold that's needed, but again, to protect the environment?
Well, I don't have much to do with the mining at all, other than they might be asking me questions about filming, if it may jeopardize filming in a particular area. But the impact can be great if so they impact an area that we're sensitive to. We do have wilderness areas in this region that we cannot film on. So that's off bounds for filming, as well as probably a lot of construction. So we have to work towards, every contractor comes in and we have to work towards working with them, and we do not want to scare them off. We want to make it happen if we can at all possible.
Well, looking at the facilities you had, I went online to look at some of the studios and the ways that you're actually producing the television. Share a little bit with us about the investment that's been made both by the city, the county, and the state itself in order to attract such high quality, both the feature films, but also there's a lot of money these days in commercials.
Yes, they are. And our investment is our property. That's our investment. We keep our property beautiful. We go out with BLM and they keep the areas pristine and areas that we know is allowed for filming. We've had movies like Hidalgo, The Planet of the Apes, Jurassic Park has been here, Land of the Lost, Holes, Dinosaur, and Iron Man. Actually, our staples is commercials. We do a lot of commercials, and we actually have, except for this last year, we've had a commercial in Super Bowl almost every entire year.
Oh, that's absolutely, that's a real record. We're about running out of time. What would you like to share with our audiences, both here and abroad, about what do you see for the next, say, 5, 10, 15, 20 years as far as the growth of the film and commercial industry, and how that actually helps to enhance the environment within your area?
Well, that's hard to say. I go to workshops. I'm a member of the AFCI and Flicks, and we're continuously, yearly going to workshops working towards what is happening in the industry. And they actually come to us and they ask us questions about what can they do, what can we do to work together with that. But it's changed. The technology is changing so fast that it seems like every week we have to change something.
I'm going to be losing you, Doug. This is Doug Lueck, who is Executive Director, Film Commissioner of Ridgecrest Regional Film Commission. And they're doing absolutely a fantastic job there to enhance the area by bringing in new investments, new revenues for the county as we look to create the Emerald Planet.
Some dreams are universal. Dreams that inspire us. Multiple sclerosis is a devastating disease that changes lives forever. The National MS Society does more for people with MS than any organization in the world. But we can't do it alone. To get involved, visit us online at nationalmssociety.org or call 1-800-FIGHT-MS. This is why we're here. Because nobody dreams of having multiple sclerosis.
What's wrong with this picture? Half of young Americans can't locate economic powers like Japan and India. 20% can't even find the Pacific Ocean. Without geography, our children aren't ready for the world. Geography is everywhere. It's incredible creatures, rhythm, fashion, flavor. It's economics and politics. It's change. Understanding connections between people and places is critical in the 21st century. That's why we created mywonderfulworld.org. Go there now for your free parent and teacher action kits and give our kids the power of global knowledge. Because kids who understand our world today can succeed in it tomorrow.
We're back to the Inside Scoop Emerald Planet. Here again, your host, Dr. Sam.
Hello and welcome to the Emerald Planet. I'm Dr. Sam Hancock, the President and Executive Director of Emerald Planet and also the Emerald Planet TV. We're working in 144 different countries looking at the 1,000 best practices, the technologies, the products, and the services that are making a difference as we move through the 21st century. As the planet adds 2 billion new souls by 2050, how we're going to be able to house, clothe, provide the fiber, transportation, the energy that's needed by all of these different people. And we're also looking at the people that are making a difference, and the number of these have many years working in areas that are quite unique as far as protecting the environment, but at the same time to expand and grow economic development, add new tax base for local and state governments, and at the same time to make sure that we're providing new jobs. And a gentleman who's really helped us to set up this program that we have about natural resources and environmental quality and optimizing natural resources is Joe Martori. He's the president of Martori Mining Enterprises and also the Sleepy Bear Mining. He's in Randsburg, California, which is near Ridgecrest. And Joe, welcome to the Emerald Planet.
Hi, thanks.
Glad to have you here, and I'm glad you have your logo on. I tried to get one of those shirts from you once, and I never get it. So I want you to know I do want one in the future.
We'll be sending one and with a pan also.
Okay, that sounds great. Well, we are going to be talking about, we're getting some feedback, and but what is the concept of green mining?
Well, the concept of green mining is where we try to reclaim the land as fast as possible. And
Joe, hold on a minute. Let me bring up this first slide we have here, and this will give an idea of what we're talking about. Okay, go ahead. Green mining.
Yes. This slide right here, this was a 43-foot pit, about almost 2 acres. And as you can see there, in 10 hours, we put that back, recontoured, regraded, boulders back in, bushes back in, everything back in. And that's what we specialize in. That, and we love the environment. And so we need to get the resources out and put it right back. And that's a good picture of what green mining is about for us.
Yeah, I want to go to this next one. I'm actually probably going to jump between these two for just a minute because
Sure.
You're in an absolutely pristine area of California, United States. It's gorgeous with the 4 mountain ranges around you. And when you look at the footprint you have with that great expanse of land, you really do have a very small footprint, and you've worked hard to have an even smaller carbon footprint.
Correct. What we try to do is we don't try to mine more than between 2 to 3 acres at a time. And to protect the animals there, we tortoise fence it off, make sure it's all protected. Bureau of Land Management comes in, clears it. A third party comes in and clears it, says, hey, you're ready to go. Plant, animal life is clear, you're fine. So we only do about 2 to 3 acres at a time, and that way we can put it back fast.
Well, I know this is something, when I was out there actually looking at your operation, that you said it was almost within 24 hours you could have everything back to contour, and you've done your extraction process, and then you're moving to another area. How are you able to do that so quickly?
Well, we only take, for every truck of dirt we take to the mill site that you saw there in that previous picture, we send a truck right back. We line the trailing edge of the pit, just like you see in this picture here, and then we push it all back in. We spend the day pushing it back in to recontour the grate. And we only take out about a pound of material out of every ton, and we only use about 1 gram of material, and everything goes right back into the ground.
Yeah, this is something I found absolutely amazing when you're talking about moving a ton and you have some large vehicles, and to think that you're putting back almost 99.999% of everything you take out is actually going right back into to the soil. But looking at, I know that the BLM, the Bureau of Land Management under the United States Department of Interior, has very close and tight control over what goes on these the public lands. You have to file various reports, and then they show up and they're doing ongoing evaluations of your work. So looking at some of the best practices for mining here, is this something that you've actually evolved over the last 28 years of your professional experience? Or is this a balance between what you're learning and the Bureau of Land Management is sharing with miners like you, as well as what you're evolving on your own?
Well, honestly, it's a miner's thing. What you see right there, we train people from all around the world. The Happy Tortoise College of the Desert, that gentleman there is from London. And we had another group, about 80, that came in to be trained on this. But realistically, miners love the earth. And responsible miners like ourselves are going to try to put it back as fast as possible and do as little bit of footprint as we can. So we've actually lived this way. And we're really bringing it into the light now, showing people that, hey, mining's not the way it used to be 100 years ago, even 20 years ago. And this is the way it really is now, and this is the way we can have it. We can put money back into the economy. We can create the jobs, the new jobs. Permits are 20 to 30 years. I mean, that's a good job. And, we can help stimulate the economy, tax dollars back in and everything. And yeah, the BLM does regulate it. And really, it's good that they're there. We have no problem with that. But we're doing the same thing we've been doing for years. They're there. Counties are there also. They look over everything, too, to make sure things are going right, which we're grateful for that. You never know. Something might happen with all the different regulatory agencies going on. And so they stay on top of it, and they help us and let us know what's going on, too.
Well, I was very impressed with the technology. As you know, I was looking for green mining processes that could be used in about 8 other countries around the globe. But it took us that long to really find out about you and what you were doing there in the high desert near Ridgecrest. And you've developed some very unique equipment that actually extracts much more of the gold or a natural resource. My understanding, you're using only about 5% of the water of normal, and there's other best practices in this. Tell us a little bit about this equipment, why it's so efficient, and how it really lowers the carbon footprint to the environment and to the planet.
Okay. Well, you hit on a few things there. I'm going to start with what it does. Air quality. Everything's wet, so we don't have to worry about emissions going into the air. Water. Our water is so clean because we don't put any chemicals or anything. We actually grow fish in our water, and we have a garden that supports ourselves for almost 7 months out of the year. Then the fuel. The wheels you see right there, those do about 70 tons of head ore an hour. And we extract about 1 pound to 3 pounds out of every ton. It goes up those wheels, it goes through the whole process, and everything goes immediately right back into the ground where it sits. So we've used less fuel, less equipment, less electricity, everything. We've cut down the whole footprint. We don't have trucks and equipment going back and forth to the mill site. Everything's done out there, and all we're doing is pumping water out to it. And then the rock and everything else goes right back in the ground.
Well, looking at this process, and I'm leaving this up a little minute longer here, Joe, because these concentrators, talk about the concentration, because that's what you mean by concentrator. is my understanding you can extract 2 to 3 times more gold out of the same acre than the traditional methods that are being used in most localities in the United States, but in other countries around the planet.
Correct. On this here, you typically, with one unit that uses about 5 gallons of biofuel for a day, you would need probably about 4 huge jigs, concentrating bowls, centrifugal force concentrating bowls, and a lot of other equipment and a lot of energy to run it. A lot of fuel or a lot of electricity or both. And these here, these concentrators, they actually extract more than those. Those are typically between 40 to 70%. Some people say 90. It's all up to who's working it. But we do know here we get about 3 times more the black sand recovery. And that's what we look for, the black sand recovery, because that's where our money is in. And we get about 3 times more than we do on any other equipment with these concentrating wheels.
Well, now you're going to what you're doing as far as self-support, growing your own food, also recycling about 90% of your water. What led you to do these kinds of steps in order to have your mining operation there near Ridgecrest?
Well, you do need water, you do need electricity. And so that was the perfect spot. We looked at this spot, we saw the values that were there. We saw it's an economically depressed area, so we knew we could create jobs there and help the economy there also. So we actually had everything there, and that's why we picked that spot out in the desert.
Well, it's wonderful. You're saving almost 95% of the water through recycling. And then my understanding is when that 5% of the moisture stays in the soil and goes back in the desert, actually enhances the plant growth, and also it attracts more of the animals, the reptiles, and the insects to move back into that area.
They do. They move in fast. It is amazing. We have found tailings piles from 30 years ago, 50 years ago, and there's animals in them. They buried back in them. When we put our tailings piles out there, just in the year it takes us to mine and before we start reclaiming the land again, we usually do that in about a year, we have bushes growing in our tailings pile and everything already. And then once we put it back into the ground, usually the ant colonies, the animals, the snakes, the rats, and the insects are all usually back in, depending on the time of year, in about 3 months. I mean, it's great to see the whole ecosystem come back together. Hey, there you're seeing one of our pets. He's out there. That's Brandy, our big tortoise on the upper picture there. He's out there. We see him. We drive by. We see him. There's one of our College of the Deserts outings, shall we call it, on education.
Well, I tell you, you're doing a fantastic job. We're going to lose you. I'm going to just continue to talk with you as we run the credits and have all this going in the background. But this is Joe Martori, president of Martori Mining Enterprises in the Sleepy Bear Mining Complex in Randsburg, California. And Joe, you're doing absolutely excellent work out there. And thank you for sharing with us on the Emerald Planet about green mining as we look together to create the Emerald Planet.